Now, the last few things before we get started with this course, just a few things that we have to talk about. So what you'll need. So you've signed up for the course already. So then you've got the two main things that you need. You've got the motivation to get a good TOEIC score, and you have a teacher who's ready to help you. Okay? So that's important. Two very important things you've already got. But two other things that you should have. You should have a quiet study space where you won't be distracted. So if you're sitting like on the subway right now, that's not the best way to learn. It's much better to like wait till you get home, or wait till you can maybe go to the library or go to maybe a coffee shop or something like that. Find a quiet place to study. And you should have a file on your computer or on your phone or some kind of cloud storage service where you can keep all of the tasks, you can keep your notes, your resource file, all of those different things. Make sure you're organized, because if you lose the different things or everything's in a different place, it will make your preparation more difficult. And depending on your study style, you could consider printing some of the practice tests and making notes by hand. Some people like to do that. I like to do that, but not everybody likes it. You could also consider keeping a physical notebook and using pens or using highlighters to record your ideas. I don't like highlighters. I remember when I was in school, when I was much younger than I am now. Now I'm very old. I'm 100 years old. Anyway, all of the girls would use highlighters, and they'd make their book very attractive, very pretty. And my book was, it had good information, but it was a mess. It was a mess. So if you're like me, you might just use a pen to write, and it might be messy. If you're like the people I went to school with, you might use a highlighter. It's up to you. It's just something to consider. Now, something we do in a lot of our courses, and we have many other courses. We have courses about, grammar and English fluency and different exams like IELTS and Duolingo. Something that we like to do is to think about, before we start the course, where am I now? What is my current situation with talking about TOEIC? So before we get started, it's important to understand our current strengths and our areas for improvement. Which areas can we make better? What areas are we not so strong? So I want you to do this. I want you to rank yourself and agree or disagree with these things. Okay, so don't think for too long. Just read the question and give yourself score 1 if you totally disagree, score 10 if you completely agree, or maybe score 5 or something if you're in the middle. Okay, so I am very familiar with the content of the TOEIC exam. So if you are very unfamiliar, put a 1. If you know everything about it, if you're an expert, put number 10, or maybe you're 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If I took TOEIC tomorrow, it's a scary idea, I think I'd get the score I need. So if you took it tomorrow, would you get a good enough score? Or would your score be too low? If you think it would be too low, you put 1 or 2 or 3. If you think it would be a good score, put 8 or 9 or 10. I have a very good knowledge of business English. Again, if you think your knowledge is very good, put a high score, 8, 9, 10. If you think it's okay, you could put a 5 or a 6. If you think your business English is not so good, you could put maybe a 2 or maybe even a 1. Okay? And we have our reflection journal document that's in the resources file. And if you want to use that, there is a place there where you can write down your score. You can record your score there. or you could use a physical notebook. But I want you to write the date, today's date, whatever date you are watching this video. Because later in the course, we're going to come back and we're going to look at that and we're going to give ourselves a new score. And we can also think about the challenges that you have right now. So think about your reasons for taking this TOEIC course. You probably think that there's some kind of challenge in getting the grade you need, because if you were a TOEIC expert, probably you don't need this course. Maybe you know more than I do. So I guess you must have some difficulty, right? So here are some common quotes from some other students that we've been teaching, some other TOEIC candidates. Of course, there are others as well, but these are some common challenges. Some people say, I find it so difficult to complete all the reading tasks in time. Or they might say, the exam contains lots of formal words I don't know. Or I get really nervous on the day of the speaking test. Or my mind goes blank during the listening test and it's hard for me to pay attention. Or I spend hours and hours studying for the exam, but I don't think I'm using the time effectively. I'm not studying in a smart way. So those are some problems that other people have. And what I want you to do is to think about your own problems, your own challenges, okay? Now, maybe it's like some of the ones from that list, but probably you have your own difficulties. Maybe your difficulty is, I don't know anything about the TOEIC exam, but I have to take it soon. Or I've taken the test so many times and I don't get the score that I need. Whatever it is, it's your challenge. And I want you to think of 3, all right? And I want you to write down those 3 in a sentence like this, hopefully in English, and put them in your reflection journal. Now, my last thing, I promise, before we get started with the course, is your goals. So I want you to imagine, go into your mind, close your eyes, and imagine yourself on the day that you get your TOEIC results. And you're going to open maybe the letter, maybe the email, and you're going to see that you got the grade that you needed. So you're like, yes! So I want you to write a short paragraph, and you're going to include these things: how you feel, who you tell, so who will you tell the good news to, and how TOEIC will help your future. Also, your reflections on this course, if you want. So I want you to use the present tense. I don't want you to say, I will feel. Instead, picture yourself in that situation. You are in that situation now. All right? So you say, I feel very happy, I hope. I feel so angry. That would be confusing. So you'll say, I feel something, something. And here's an example. This is Pedro from Colombia. He says, I'm delighted with my grade and can't wait to tell my friend who also took the exam. The TOEIC course made me so much more confident, and now I can apply for the regional sales manager job that I want. So that's a good job by Pedro. Okay, so your job is to write down your own paragraph with those things. All right? So that is the end of this introduction. We talked a little bit about what the exam includes, what this course includes, and we've also done the important steps of writing down our own areas of difficulty and our goals. So in the next video, we're going to get started with the vocabulary section.